This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, the zoning board of the city of Easthampton is now in session. Today is Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. Is there anyone here to speak concerning an event that's not on the agenda for the evening?
No one online.
No one online.
It's the time or the place. But
And there's no public hearings, so we'll move on to our third agenda item, which is a review of cross-spectrum acoustics report for number 1 Northampton Street.
I'll just go ahead and introduce what we're doing here. This is just the report that we received. We got it back in July. We didn't have our meeting in July, so here we are. The condition just said that they needed to comply with this and verify it with a third party, which they've done. Really, all this is for you folks to review this. If you find something in here that's objectionable, that you don't think that this criteria was met, then we could make an action item on another at another meeting. But if you've all had the time to review this, I've reviewed it here. Kind of the results is the most they hit is on South. You can see they've got that note on the last page that they hit the limit of what's acceptable. They don't exceed the limit. And that's kind of the only thing that really popped out at me when I had read this, but still fits within the condition that you folks had set at the hearing.
Right, which is basically set by the state.
Yep. Do you guys have any thoughts, comments, questions?
I mean, I appreciate that they include some recommendations for things that the applicants can do to further ensure their compliance, undertake to ensure ongoing compliance. And I know that they really wanted to, they wanted to test. So the fact that they had 107 decibels in there, I did ask one of them personally, are you planning on regularly having shows at 107 decibels? And they're like, hell no. No, that's not the plan. And if it was, the health department would.
Well,
Did they go ahead and create those things to go in the windows?
They did. I believe that they have those installed and that was part of it. Yeah, they did say here that the exterior walls could be improved by putting acoustical caulk around the wooden boards over the existing windows. So I think they have the plugs in, but they also have I don't, that might be at odds with what the fire chief
fire chief
for.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was very specific about that. If that's what this is talking about, then wonderful recommendation, but at odds with venue safety.
Yes.
And I know for a fact that they do already have a sound meter. They have Tim, the head applicant, has a sound meter. So overall, based on the recommendations and what I've heard, I feel pretty comfortable with the results of the study.
All right. Any concerns?
That was very convincing.
I actually forgot my pen down there. I have one I can go grab. Fantastic. Thank you. In case you need to take any notes here. So the next that we're moving on to, so this is the zoning ordinance that I've been working on. This hasn't been proposed anywhere. This is just what I have here. The authority, that's just a clarifying section saying that unlike a lot of other state regs where you can be more strict, this is one where you can't be more strict, right. You can be more lenient.
Yep.
And that's just citing where in the regs it says that, the state regulations. Then we have two definitions here, accessory dwelling unit, and then we have protected use accessory dwelling unit. The reason we define that protected use ADU, we basically just take the state's definition and put it in there and then clarify that our ADU and protected ADU is the same thing. That way somebody doesn't create an ADU and then a protected ADU where they're one and the same. That's kind of the idea of why we have that protected use ADU in there.
Am I understanding that okay, let me just back up.
Please.
Why are you doing this? That's the broad question.
Sorry. Yes, that's a very important question that I'm sure
He's bored.
just sitting there. So as it stands right now, the state, and it's part of its housing production plan, they implemented essentially it's 760 CMR 71, which damn the call, which made it that accessory dwelling units are buildable by right all throughout the state. So towns can't say no, and they basically set certain parameters that say you cannot be more strict than this. Now, Easthampton, so anyone who, for example, just didn't have anything on the books about ADUs, state law right there. Now, like Easthampton, we did have something on the books about it. Our understanding is that if we have two sets of regulations, both ours, which are more strict than the states, and the states, it essentially creates two pathways to get an accessory dwelling unit. So if for some reason somebody wanted to create a non-owner occupied accessory dwelling unit, kind of our regulations don't apply to them, it's just the states.
Yep.
Where, and others of ours, it might be more permissive, they can't utilize ours unless they're owner occupied.
Makes sense.
So the only thing we have to do is to make ours comply to then say, we're not worried about the states anymore. We just have one clear set of guidelines. Is just scratch out that owner occupied, then everything works.
Yep.
While we're in here, while we're doing it, there's just a couple of other things we should probably do.
Housekeeping that needs to be done.
The housekeeping, one, including that protected use ADU, making that definition to make it clear. Another one, as we learned, I think back in November, changing that standards for detached unit to meet the standards of principal structure, even though there's a section in the zoning that says accessory dwelling unit, and if you read that literally, then it never ever applies, and that's kind of.
I
Yes,
see.
we had one of those. I do recall that one quite well.
Yep.
Got it. So that's what the 8.505C accessory dwelling unit and any other permitted structure in all other districts is
Yes.
pertaining to?
Yes.
So in our zoning district and all the 8 zones, all the residential districts, you'll see accessory dwelling unit and all of its setback requirements. In non-residential districts like neighborhood, business, or industrial, where you can't build a single family homes still exist there.
Right.
So they could build an accessory dwelling unit, and then there's another just set in there that says any other permitted structure. It would refer to that. So it's clear what the setback requirements are for detached ADUs in all cases.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
And then the last part in here as well. Again, there's a data collection section. I literally just pulled that word from the state regs, and then it's going to all be going through the building department because pretty much for the most part, it's going to all be by right. So then just say it's the building department that does that. And then I just put in the severability clause in there just because, seems sharp.
And process-wise, do you pass this to the ordinance committee, who then votes to approve it, or they have to give it to city council?
It would go to the ordinance committee. So what we're doing here, because ultimately, as you all know, if something requires a special permit, it comes to this board. So the idea here is if you folks have recommendations that you think might make the special permit process make more sense, or any part of this process.
Well, this is going to transfer to a right, so we should never see it unless they want to.
There's still a thing in here about how, there's still a thing in here about how it could get to us. I don't remember where it is.
So it's basically the same as it's every special permit case that we have seen, regardless of if we adopt these exactly as they are, all would have happened the exact same way, because these were all owner occupied ADUs that were coming through 8.5. All of them were waivers from, the one we had in November, that was a waiver from setback requirements because of the awkward, you're attached, you have to meet principal.
Was that a variance?
No. So that was a waiver. So, and this is something I remember Tim had sent me an email about this, and it is kind of just a matter of opinion of how communities want to do it, of whether or not you want to allow waivers. Because if you don't allow
required to do a
waivers,
special permit? Or
What's
could
that?
we- Are you required to have special permits for these, or could we get rid of that and just have it go through the variance mechanism?
you could, if you got rid of waivers entirely, because you could strike, section, which one is it there?
8502C.
850, no, it's section, 8.507, special permit for accessory dwelling unit.
Any requirement may be waived.
Yep. So
Right.
that's everything that's come to you. There's something in here why they can't comply.
Got it.
And then they ask for a waiver. So you,
Too big.
exactly.
Or
So I guess my only question is that, so the statute of the 900 square feet,
Mhm.
is that state minimum? State
No.
maximum, state,
That's state. 900 square feet is the state,
so we could,
Maximum.
by right.
by right, 900 feet.
By
But
right.
we could say 900 feet by right and a larger by special permit.
And you could even say just 1,000 feet,
Yeah,
square
you could
feet
make
by
it
right
bigger.
and larger by special permit. You could really
And-
kind of,
So my question is, so say somebody had a lot, I'm gonna draw out a scenario. Somebody has a lot. They build a tiny house on it.
Yep.
And then they want to build a 900 square foot ADU. Technically, the 900 square foot ADU is larger than the tiny house.
right,
And
allowed.
that would be allowed, no questions asked.
But
No.
would it become the primary
No.
residence?
no, and this is actually a question I want your folks'
Whichever is
opinion.
smaller.
Whichever is smaller. However, in the way that I have this written, this isn't in our zoning currently. This is something I wanted to point out to you folks, because this is a choice that ultimately needs to be made by the ordinance committee.
Right.
But if you folks have a recommendation on it. So I have it written as principal dwelling unit or 900 square feet, whichever is smaller. The state's minimum requirement is 900 square feet or half the size of the primary dwelling unit. So as I have it written, if you built a 950-foot home, you could build a 900 square foot home or ADU on the property.
Okay.
But if you would take the state's definition, you have a 950 square foot home, now you can only have, half, 475,
But
Whichever is smaller.
whichever
Got
is
it.
smaller. So, and that's a
by
choice-
right.
By right.
Now, if we kept that half the principal dwelling unit,
Mhm.
principal, somebody has a 2,500 square foot house.
Mhm.
Could they build a 1,250 square foot ADU with a
It's
special permit?
1,250 or 900, whichever is smaller. So it would
By
be
right.
Saying with
limited to
special permit.
900
By
by
right.
right.
Right,
With the special permit, they could ask for a waiver currently under this. They could ask for a waiver for anything.
Yep.
They could waive any aspect of any of this or come to us
Where-
asking to do that.
Where's the line between a waiver and
Special
a
permit?
variance?
Or a variance?
So, the waiver and the special permit are the same thing in this. case.
Okay, those are the same thing.
So you get a waiver through special permit.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Where if we were to eliminate that, then the only way to get there is through a variance, which, as you all know, and again, there is an argument to be made for not having waivers, right? To say, choose your zoning and stick to it or don't. I'm not someone who believes in that, as we saw, as somebody's like, hey, can I build this porch that
Yeah.
matches the one across the street and makes sense and is better? And then you have to say, well, no, because there needs to be something unique about the soils. You can't just do this thing that makes sense.
Wind isn't blowing the right way.
Yeah, like,
I-
and because, and again, the thing you have to keep in mind about hardships as well, like that one where you folks had granted the waiver for that 1150 to accommodate, a live-in caretaker. Health is not a hardship that can be granted for a variance. The hardship has to be relating to the parcel, the land itself.
The soil link.
Exactly. So it's like, look, doing something else will cost me, $200,000. It's like, oh, well, that's terrible, but nothing we can
Sorry to
do.
hear that.
But the soil conditions will cost me $200,000. Well, now we can do that.
Now you're talking.
And that's
Only you
usually,
have that hardship.
and I think as you folks saw where you had the 14 1,200 square foot, and then the 1,350 ADU. With special permits, you do have discretion to deny based on saying, this isn't the intent of the waiver. So kind of the idea of it is to build smaller homes, more affordable homes, as opposed to just building, a little.
I think our zoning should change so that you can build more homes, but I don't think using this mechanism to be our primary driver of housing stock across the city is the right way to do it. Like, this should be the exception, not the rule.
Yep.
And if we make this the rule, then there's no longer any pressure to fix the problem. So that's my stance on why I want to keep the ADU not a way to just build a new primary residence.
And then keeping it not a variance, even if it's not, to just even get, well, I'm 2 feet closer than I need to be, but if you look, it makes sense, or it's 10 feet over, it's 910 square feet, and then you have that conversation with somebody where it's like, shrink it 10 feet, you'll save yourself 2 months of procedure. But if they're like, no, this is really what I want, they can come to you folks and
Everybody
say,
spends their money different.
cool.
Time.
So it gives folks that option if they want to go through that process for
I
something.
say push it forward. Yep.
Um,
Do we need a motion?
no,
Just a discussion.
this is just discussion. And so if we like it as it is, the thing I would like to hear from you folks is, what is your opinion on the 900 square feet versus 900 square feet or half?
Yeah.
Because I personally like the idea of the 900 square feet kind of in all cases. That way you don't have to have, 1,800 square feet for the primary to be able to maximize the ADU. There's still a set cap because what you're building is always going to be a 900 square foot dwelling unit. And the idea is, if that is the size, that's okay. It's not okay if the other house doesn't meet a certain threshold. And in addition to that, as it stands, if you build an interior ADU, so you have a single family home, and this is my understanding is, I guess, the state building commissioner has made this determination, is that, it's, if you go with the half the size of the principal dwelling unit, you can cut the house right down the middle because it calls the whole thing the dwelling unit. So you split that right down the middle, and now you have technically your primary unit is the exact same size as the ADU.
It's not an ADU.
But as long as it's under 900 square feet, then it's fine, because it's kind of always going to be half the size of the principal dwelling
Used to be
unit.
called an in-law apartment. Right.
And we can't be that's the minimum of what we can permit, right? Like, we have to be more permissible than that. Like what you just described as the state scenario,
Correct.
right?
Yes, so that's the state. We can't get more restrictive than that, but we don't have to be more permissive. We can
Yeah.
stick with the 900 square feet or half the size, which I go with 900 square feet or less than the principal dwelling unit. So you're never building bigger than the principal.
I wish I had some of the summary data that I know my partner in the Easthampton Housing Coalition is currently working on assembling about, like, average dwelling sizes.
Mhm.
Because, like, if there's a lot of small houses in Easthampton, then I'd be more, like, then that would be more problematic than an area of the state where there's much larger houses.
Yeah.
Like,
If you have like,
It-
most of my neighborhood is all ranches. and
right, it
they're like
requires that
800,000
every
square feet, you're talking about a 400 foot.
yeah,
I've lived in
tiny
one of those apartments. It's not
one
enjoyable.
room studio.
It's very small.
It is.
If you have a 800 square foot
So-
house.
You are granted 900 square foot by right.
Or, right, 900, it's
Or
either,
half the primary dwelling by right,
right,
by the state.
Right. So by right, you can, even if you lived in an 800 square foot ranch, you could technically, well, you couldn't build more than an 800 square foot ADU. So not
according
greater.
to
according to
this,
SB400.
the new one that
Yeah.
Dylan wrote allows you to build an ADU the same size as your house. So if you want to copy your house and it's less than 900 square feet,
By right, you can do.
you can do that.
Yeah.
Or you can go, it's either the size of your house or 900 square feet, whichever is smaller. So, and you can never build anything bigger than your house. And if your house is big, then you're limited to 900 square feet.
You
That's the Dylan version.
want a situation where someone could build a 1,200 square foot ADU if their house was
400 or something?
5,000 square feet.
We,
That's the question.
so you're asking, do we want to make it even more
Permissive, yeah, and make it so
Wanna
folks
say
could build
ADUs.
over 900 as an ADU.
You certainly could.
Whichever is higher.
Well,
No,
I think that would be a case where they just have to come to us and ask for a variance.
you mean a waiver?
Yeah,
Yeah, a waiver,
waiver.
yeah.
And they did, that happened.
Yep.
and they
last
did.
time.
Right,
They did.
so not,
I didn't
have that
grant
be,
it.
not have that be the norm.
But it was gonna be bigger, significantly bigger than their primary residence.
No, this one was gonna be 50 square feet smaller.
Oh, right,
But
it
it
was
was-
gonna be just about.
But when you calculated the
And
garage,
it was gonna be much bigger than 900
Not
square
to,
feet.
not to exceed, you know, so if you wanna have a, this accessory dwelling greater than 900 square feet, you may apply for a special permit, but the accessory dwelling may not exceed about 33%.
But if we set that rule, then we're establishing what they can do by right.
No, by
you,
special permit,
you're saying put a limit on what a special
Possible
permit can
special
grant.
permits?
yes.
Yeah, I think it
Got
was
it.
problematic at our meeting when we had all those come in, because I feel like then
Yeah,
where do you
because
draw
if
the
we-
line
Yeah,
arbitrarily?
we need guardrails.
My only concern I see by setting that limit is you're now saying you can come and get a special permit for a 1,200 square foot one. If we set the limit, then I think that just kind of opens the door to folks saying, oh, but I can make it bigger if I do this process, which if we want to say, which just taking a little step back of just, if we go that route, we're basically saying, in my opinion, you can do it if you're willing to put up with more of a hassle, which sometimes is the point of a special permit. Like all pre-existing non-conforming is like, well, you can make it conform. It's like, well, I don't want to. It's like, fine, you can do this, but now you got to go through this whole rigmarole. You don't have to if you do it by
This way.
conformity or rigmarole.
And the idea of zoning is to get things all the same. If you want to color outside the lines,
It goes through this,
you have to
The
jump through the
rigmarole.
hoop.
So I feel like what you're
Yeah.
describing is
Yeah.
what the point of a conditional permit for these was before they became by right, was come prove to us it's not gonna be a sore thumb in the neighborhood, it's gonna fit in. And so now John's saying, putting a cap on it, and they still have to go through that process we had before. Which, again, when I was walking in here, I was thinking I'd want to do with special permits altogether for this, but I hear your argument on it
Yeah.
to some degree. But I didn't like that, again, where do you draw the line? Because it just,
And that's what I'm saying. If we can say, not to exceed, you
Have
can
what
do
a
this
special
by
permit
right,
Can do.
and you can go up to here. This is the cap.
I
You have to
see.
justify.
I see your argument. Because if we write a line in the sand, then people will be like, oh, I can come to that line in the sand, and then we might get even more applications versus not drawing a line where people are like, I don't know, it's vague, I won't even try, let me just do it by right.
Yeah, keeping
Okay.
it vague, where now if somebody applies to me, I can, again, it's nice that in this moment I can be like, well, the board said to a 1350 unanimously no, and then 1150 with the house being this size, and it's specifically being for, to accommodate ADA compliance for like somebody's elderly mother and a live-in caretaker. And even that was a little bit tough. It's like I can have these conversations with people. And at the end of the day, they can always say, well, here's my application and my check.
Yeah,
And cool, you were on the agenda.
On the card there.
Where-
That's such an interesting way of thinking about it. I never would have thought about it that way, but that does make sense.
Yeah.
People are weird.
I guess as a side related to this, I was wondering whether we put in a bedroom limit, because that was one where that one we approved was a 2-bedroom. And to me, if you want to allow 2 bedrooms, sure, but that kind of undermined, I always thought of ADUs as being like a 1-bedroom. So do you think
Yeah.
do we put bedrooms in, or we leave that out of there? That was
Are
something
we
I had
allowed to though?
No,
Or
but
that
would be
That be less
extremely-
permissive?
yeah, and I think because you're having the square footage issue. That could take care of that. Someone saying,
900
okay,
square feet.
Yeah, I'm just,
Yeah, to build rooms that are legally rooms, that's limiting.
yeah,
Yes, because there's a definition in the building code as to what a room is.
Right.
yeah.
If they want to do it bigger, they have to come to us just like they did.
Yeah.
I mean, that case where we had someone who needed a caretaker and there was a wheelchair requirement, like I think there's something in here about like bona fide need or whatever it is, that I feel like that sort of like meets, but it, like, I do think having it come to us makes sense. Where is it? Where's what I'm thinking?
I know what you're thinking of, but the word bona fide is not referring to,
Uh,
I think, what
I
that
just
is.
remember that word being nearby it.
Yeah, what did they say? Now I'm
Me
curious.
and large language models.
It was the street parking, if they have a bona fide reason why they don't have
That's
street parking.
Yes,
And that did mention specifically if somebody, was disabled and isn't gonna have a
you're right, that's
car,
different.
then, and that is by right through the building commissioner, so that wouldn't
That's
come.
right, that's by right through the building commissioner, but it does suggest that the code like has certain leniency for certain situations built into it. Like, to me, that particular one is interesting because it says, if you're special, we'll do something special for you.
And kind of right now, our guiding principle is in the purpose. So, add inexpensive rental units to the housing stock to meet the need of smaller households, both young and old. As you're going bigger, you're not adding inexpensive
Right.
homes to the housing stock.
Okay,
All right.
I like what you did. I think,
I do, I agree.
I genuinely think that having it be either the size of the principal dwelling be the limit or 900 square feet, whichever is smaller,
Mhm.
makes a lot more sense than the 50% that the state has
Mhm.
for Easthampton. I like what you wrote.
Okay.
I say send it. That's my
Agreed.
thought.
Okay, all right, so we like this kind of as is.
Yep.
You're just that good, Dylan.
Thank you. Yeah, try my best.
So now I have a question. Can we talk about other cases we've had since we are technically in session? Because I know we're not allowed to talk about
Well,
them.
okay. And to report other committees to the state for going off topic of the agenda.
Let's play it safe and say, what is the broadly speaking?
What is there if you take out a building permit, you must break ground within 2 years.
Yes, however, and I can, without talking about any case, I'll just form that there was, I'm forgetting what it's called, it's somewhere in my emails, I can forward it to you folks, but there was a blanket extension of all variances and special permits issued, I believe, after January 2023, that just extends them for, I think, another 2 years or something like
Okay.
that.
Because I wasn't sure if there was a statute of limitations, because I believe that we've had situations where people have applied for a special permit or variance, the 2 years has elapsed, and they've had to come back.
Mhm.
And I was just curious as to what the current status is on that. Because I know of some locations that have had special permits granted. And my clock is going,
Nothing's happening.
so I wasn't sure what the status was there.
Yes, if they were, depending on when it was issued, it may have expired, but I remember this had come up with a case where you folks had granted a variance before I had come on and looking at it, and they didn't exercise it in time. And you guys never saw this variance application because we figured out, oh wait, it's been automatically extended. You do not need to come back before the ZBA, which was a sigh of relief for everybody involved.
Is that like a state mandate? What was the,
This was, yeah, state mandate. If you give me a moment, I can pull it up.
just wondering, I thought you were gonna say it was like related to COVID or something still. but
It was.
2020
It
Oh,
really
oh,
was.
so they keep
Probably
trying to
related to
extend it.
COVID.
That was 2023? Oh, okay, that makes sense, I
It's
guess.
2023, yeah.
So.
Some
2
point,
years,
You have to
we're
wonder,
coming
like,
up to the due date.
that heavy machinery has to recover eventually, right? Like, it's gotta be off the ventilator by now. I mean, get digging.
A third permit extension act
Third permit extension act.
on November 2024. More Healy signed act relative to strengthening Massachusetts economic leadership, also known as the Mass Leads Act. This permit, as a result, real estate downturn. Here's the specifically inclusive shall be extended for a period of 2 years from its expiration date.
Oh,
As soon as it expires,
another 2 years.
2 years tacked on. So variances, which generally have a 1 year, now have a 3 year.
Should do that with eggs in my fridge.
2 permit, now have a 4 year.
Man, that's awesome.
Our vehicle registration?
Inspection, get extra 2 years.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Would be nice. I would love that one. So, it's probably best to not get into a specific case
No,
in a
no,
meeting.
this
Just procedural discussion.
is purely procedural.
So yes, in that case, it's mostly fine, I think, probably. We've done it. We're in this deep.
Right.
So,
Okay.
the public is here for we have the recording for an informed community, so they now know,
Community
what
can
you
be
all know.
Yes, informed of the facts that have been shared with no actual deliberation,
Mhm.
which
Um,
is as it should be.
Okay, so do we currently have anybody on the agenda for September 24th?
We will, actually. We will. It's going to be a pre-existing, non-conforming, extension of a shed, I believe,
Oh, yeah.
is what they've submitted.
Hell yeah. Love
Not a
that.
shed, sorry, a deck, not a shed. My mistake. I'm sorry.
Deck for 200.
We see that this week. I'm gonna try, oh God. So right now, we have a case at planning board that has gone on for a while, and I'm still trying to just get everything together tomorrow for the planning board, so I may send that all to you out when I'm sending out the legal ad for it next week, so you'll have all the information then. I have planning board on Tuesday and a long weekend, so I've got in a short day tomorrow, so I'm gonna be cramming a lot for planning board.
Go for it.
I will, do that one remotely.
Okay.
I'll be actually in a car, so I'm not through video.
And I may be remote for the next one, October.
Okay.
Mom's having knee surgery.
And we've got,
24, I should be around.
we may have, I've got it in my phone so we don't forget, but we may have to, if the city council doesn't approve anything related to short-term rentals, we will have to make that decision to extend.
Because we put a date on it.
We put a date on it, so.
That's right, we didn't.
And then we have to look at November because we are not going to meet till Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Correct. So
It's October, right?
it's October, yep, October
Yeah, but I'm just
31st.
saying.
So that way, if for whatever reason we can't make quorum on that date, we got a little wiggle room
Be
to
here
try
on
to
Halloween.
Right.
get 3 of us together.
Spooky.
Sounds good.
You
Spookier than a
All right.
special permit.
I just saw you text, where's the meeting?
Yeah, because I went to the third floor and then to the basement.
That's why you were all asking. They said first floor of the email.
I read his emails.
I do. I do.
Hey, John, I'm the same. I'd be like, hey, I know where it is. I got the email, same place as always.
It's not a big building.
Thank goodness for
This is
that.
true.
No annex to trek out to also.
Satellite locations that we need to do today. You know,
I was
we're
thinking
in
as I was
public.
walking in here, I was like, oh, remember last summer with the 40B and the site visits and all those
Yeah.
hearings? Yeah, that was.
I came and did one of the walkthroughs. It was long before my time on the ZBA, but I came to the walkthrough of, I think,
Of which one?
Center School.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't had a walkthrough in a while, or site visits, so.
Not since I've joined. It's too bad.
Alright.
Come on, I want to go on a field trip. Let's go on a field trip.
You take the electric Mustang.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Field trip.
So that's a city car?
It is.
Cool.
I've yet to drive it because
Lucky.
unfortunately, unfortunate that I haven't had a chance to drive the Mustang, because I have not had a reason that I can take a city vehicle anywhere.
Been too busy creating efficiencies for our government.
It's few and far between, but once it finally happens and I have a reason to do like a site visit or something, oh baby, I'm taking that Mustang.
Yeah. They're fun. Electric vehicles are very fun to drive.
Get to do it, so I'm excited.
All right,
Okay,
any other business?
make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
All right,
Aye.
any objections? So moved.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.